Hello. I would like to say thank you for giving us your time and allowing us the opportunity to represent the University of Wisconsin-Platteville. We're here today on behalf of Keen Action Construction. I'm your project manager, Zach Winstra.
I'm Colton Irvin. I'll be your superintendent.
I'm Evan Myers, your lead estimator for Keen Action Construction.
I'm Logan Neeson, the safety manager, and I will also be representing John Byer, our quality control manager.
So a little bit about our company background. We were founded in 1957. This gives us 65 years of industry experience. We've also been employee-owned since 1973. We've also received the National Excellence in Construction Award for Safety for the last 4 years. And you might not believe this one, looking at our tans up here, but our main office is based out of Orlando, Florida. We're just always stuck in the office ensuring we can provide our clients a successful project. Our office is also conveniently located 8 miles away from the LHPS project site. Keen Action Construction has also ranked top 10 on the ABC Top 200 Contractors list for the last 10 years. And our 5 core values company-wide are diversity, safety, quality, technology, and integrity. A few more key facts about Keen Action Construction is that we have a 12% minority, women, and disabled veteran-owned business enterprises participation rate. We are also safety-focused with a .61 experience modification rating and an ABC, and we are also ABC Diamond Step accredited. A few of our past successful projects with similar scopes of work to the LHPS project is on the left here, the University of Nevada. Key scopes on this project were steel erection and metal paneling. In the middle, we have the University of California. This project was in very close perimeter with other educational sites on campus, very similar to Johnson and Hale Hall with the LHPS project. And then on the right, we have San Jose State University. This building obviously had a large amount of glazing, as you can see, and this required a large amount of crane operation, which the LHPS project will also require. Talking to our subcontractors, vendors, and material and suppliers, assuming we get the notice to proceed in April of 2023, we'll have the exterior build out finished in January of 2024, which will leave us a substantial completion of the LHPS building in June. Being said, we'll be able to fully occupy the building in July of 2024, and we'll have the demolition finished for Johnson and Hill Hall in September, and this will give us a project closeout in November of 2024. I'll now give it over to our superintendent, Colton Irvin.
Thanks, Zach. So I'd like to start off to say, as super, this will be the first and probably the last time you see me in the suit. So now let's jump into our site plan. To start off with, we have our security fence that surrounds the perimeter of the site. It is in the blue dotted line. This security fence will be covered with a privacy barrier. This privacy barrier was put in place to help students who are getting active in the construction process and get distracted from the studies. Also, we have proposed some delivery routes for all delivery drivers that come into the site. These routes were put in place because of the active job site and active community. We like to keep traffic limited going south on Highland Avenue. We have sent you guys the delivery routes in the RFQ, and we also send these to all of our delivery drivers and subcontractors. Now I'll take you down to the southeast corner of the site where our job trailers and the rest area is located. In our rest area, we'll use this area for our job site meetings and safety orientations. This area consists of a shaded area with benches for all employees to use. Throughout construction during the hot months, we will enclose this area and provide AC for all employees. In the next slide, I'd like to show you guys the crane, our initial crane location. This crane will be on site throughout the start of steel erection to the end of exterior build out, and then it'll be demobilized. On our next plan, it shows our phase 3. Our phase 3 consists of demo and the extension of the parking lot. To start off demo, we will mobilize a crane next to Hale Hall. We'll initially use the crane to take off the ceiling of the building, the roof of the building. We felt this was necessary due to the close proximity to the building we just put up. Taking the roof off in small pieces was necessary. We will then use an excavator to take the rest of the building off by pieces. Once Hale Hall is done, we'll move to Johnson Hall where we will continue demolition. After demolition, we will start the extension of the parking lot and the parent drop-off lane. I'm now going to hand it off to Logan to talk about some safety concerns for you guys.
Thank you, Colton. I'd like to cover our top safety concerns on this project. First off is site security, signage, and fencing. With the campus remaining operational for the duration of this project, it's imperative that the site perimeters are clearly posted. Keen Action will install an 8-foot tall chain link fence with a privacy screen along with the proper signage, lights, and security cameras. Another large concern is struck by hazards. With steel erection being a large scope of work on this project, Keen Action will ensure that all employees are properly trained and that we will do daily inspections of all hoisting and rigging equipment. With the added addenda of demolition, it is also a major concern with the close proximity to the adjacent buildings. We will ensure proper procedures are taken to ensure the safety of the new building as well as pedestrians. I would now like to talk about how Keen Action mitigates risk on the job site. We fill out daily pre-task planning sheets that are posted to our job site bulletin board along with hot work permits and weekly toolbox talks. Weekly toolbox talks are completed on current tasks being performed on the job site. I would now like to highlight our emergency action plan. A chart similar to the one seen on screen will be provided to all personnel on the job site. It outlines important personnel as well as emergency services. During a site evacuation, a constant alarm will sound, and employees will be directed to designating meeting areas through well-marked site exits. As far as reporting methods go, during an extreme emergency, the closest employee should contact emergency services immediately. During a lesser emergency, they should contact our site safety manager. At Keen Action, we pride ourselves on our 3-phase quality control plan. This means we're there for our clients before construction begins and after turnover. We also offer a unique, motivating employee rewards program where our employees can earn up to 1% of their annual salary. For this project, we're offering an extended 2-year warranty increase from our traditional 1 year. We hope this shows our commitment to you guys. And we use Autodesk Build as our one-stop shop for all quality control documents. I'll now turn it back over to Colton. He's going to talk about our community involvement.
Thanks, Logan. So to start off with, at Keen, we like to get involved in the community. So the first thing we'll put in place is going to be the groundbreaking ceremony. At the ceremony, we're going to invite all shareholders and community members that like to get involved, hear who we are as a company, and hear what the project's going to consist of. Also, throughout construction, we're going to have site tours for all students or faculty that are interested in construction or just want to see what's going on the job site. Also, after construction, once the building is complete, we'll have a ribbon cutting ceremony. This ribbon cutting ceremony consists of having all the shareholders and community members back to the site. We will do tours of the building and show off the progress we have done. At the ceremony, we're also going to unveil the playground addition that we have donated to the school. I'm now going to pass it to Logan, and he'll talk about some of the estimating for this project.
Now to break out the project estimate for LHPS, we had an initial bid of $21.9 million. This is actually broken out in a uniform summary on your left-hand side there, which I want to touch on some key points from that, which is our general conditions, which came out to $1.5 million or 7.25% of the total overall bid, as well as the owner contingency, which was given to us, so which was 3% of the subtotal of the bid, as well as our contractor fee of 3.4%. Next, I would like to talk about our adjusted bid, which came with our addendums 5 through 7, which came out to about $24 million. Our self-perform work, which included concrete and structural steel, came out to about $2.5 million. Our concrete number came out to about $730,000, with about 55% being material and about 45% being labor. When you take a look at our structural steel, our material came out to about 70% and our labor came out to about 30%. Now to finalize this, I want to go through a little bit of a summary of a couple of our slides. Earlier today, we handed a pamphlet out to you with some of our summary of all of our previous things that we wanted to point out to you. So some key things here are the estimate with the adjusted bid of $24 million, our timeline with an occupancy of LHPS for students and faculty on July 2024 and a final completion date on November 2024. We are also a safety and quality focused company with every project that we work on, and we are keen to take action on this project. I want to open it up to any other questions or concerns you guys have.
Thank you very much for the presentation and for the plan that you guys have put together. It's evident in the amount of effort that's gone in behind that. You did provide us a detailed review of the estimate in a previous slide here, What considerations have you guys taken for cost escalation? How do you plan to manage that to secure our finances as the selection committee? And what conversations have you managed with any of your key trade partners on cost escalation?
So because this job is bonded through us, we intend on like high key items that we'll have issues with, like a lot of the electrical gear and some of the metal panels, like stuff that has issues that might raise up in prices. Like I know steel's starting to come down a little bit, but those things that we want to get ordered and have available, especially with the high lead times on top of that.
So you have an EMR rating of 0.61. Can you tell me how many man hours a year you guys are working on your self-perform work to achieve that?
Roughly per man, we're about 2,100 hours.
How many employees do you have?
Say that one more time.
How many employees do you have?
We're saying at about 151,
Thank you.
not including upper management.
You guys said you self-perform both concrete and steel. Do you guys have any concerns with labor shortages? And if you do, how are you going to overcome that?
So there's a couple of areas that we've mitigated in the past. So we work with a lot of our close contractors that we have communication with. So say we get slow on a project, we can lend them some of our guys versus when they get slow, they can give us some of our guys because it's kind of hard sometimes with labor unions to always get everything back and forth with guys. But that's kind of how we've worked it out in the past, is having great connections with different contractors in the industry.
Can you guys, oh, sorry.
Hey guys, good job, and thank y'all for participating. Being that you self-perform your own concrete, which is a major portion of this job, and also given that you guys are performing some demolition, a good deal of demolition, and then partnering that with the OSHA regulations on silica dust, how do you plan to control that, being that this is an active job site as well? In other words, you're going to have people walking around and that sort of thing. How are you going to control that dust?
So for the demolition, the OSHA regulations and everything else, we will be, well, first off, getting the roof off the building and everything else. We're going to get as much interior components and everything else out of the building first. Get the roof off. We're going to eliminate everything inside as possible. So it's just down to the concrete and masonry structure of the two buildings. With that, we're going to, a lot of it, we're going to have to break it down into small sections. Being said, when we break it down into small sections, we're going to be able to mitigate a lot of the risk, having to cut the concrete, having to cut the masonry, everything else. They have saws and everything else with the vacuums. As you cut, sucks up a lot of the dust, and then ventilation masks for all of our employees that will be doing it and everything else, so we'll protect them personally. And then we're going to utilize the highest technology that we can, which is also one of our core values, which will help mitigate it all.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Can you guys elaborate on your QC plan where you have a 1% bonus for your workers? Would that include the trades? And would this additional cost be transferred to the owner?
No, this is not, that is out of our overhead. That is not something that you guys are charged.
Hey, we talked a lot about the fence you all are going to put up. You guys are putting up an 8-foot fence. You all planning on putting that into the ground, deep into the ground for weather purposes? And if so, once you guys are done and demobilized, any of the damages, do you plan on coming back and fixing that?
Yes, we plan on going back and fixing any damages that we do put into any of the current property that won't already have to be redone due to regular construction.
I got a question for you guys. So the safety of our students is very important to us. Can you guys expand on some safety measures you guys are going to have in place to go mitigate the risk of all the construction traffic that's coming through campus, and how you're going to go ensure the safety of our students and faculty?
Yep. So you can add to it too, Colton, if you want to. But so we're gonna have more signage than you should need on a normal job site. Signage will be everywhere. We will also have signage on the sidewalks because students walking, texting on their phone, looking down. That's something that we thought would be important to employ on this job site. So that we'll have that signage, the signage on the fences, as well as communicating with the staff and personnel that work at the school so that they can also let their students know what to expect and if we ever change anything as far as site perimeters or anything like that, or we have special work happening, we'll communicate that with the school so that they can let their students know to avoid that area or to look out, be safer that day. I don't know if you have anything to add, Colton?
One thing to add. So we also are employing a gate guard at the gate of the site. His jobs will be for checking in ID badges, making sure students stay out of construction, and also spotting heavy equipment and trucks as they come with deliveries. Because some deliveries will come during school hours. So to help mitigate this, we're to be ahead of time, try to get our deliveries outside of school hours. What they do, and the gate guard will help back in any heavy equipment that needs to come in.
Thank you.
We've been approached by the faculty about a potential summer school program. They would want to start that in May. I believe your substantial completion is in June. Would you guys be confident in taking 30 days out of your schedule? And if so, what 3 scopes of work would you accelerate to meet that updated timeline?
I'd say we are completely confident being able to take a month out of the schedule, being that we self-perform concrete work and we have a nice number of our own employees. We'll be able to push the man hours onto the job and be able to really push that ahead. And on top of that, we'll also be able to excel the masonry and everything else with it through the scopes of work. Those take up a vast amount of time with procurement time and everything else. So if we are able to stage everything the right way, adjust the schedule a little bit, it'll be able to let us accelerate.
How much overtime do you have in your concrete and steel labor budget?
Overtime just in general for man hours. As of right now, it's about, I think it's like 10 hours a week per man hour for the job. We don't plan on running a lot of overtime as of right now. So we probably would have to adjust the budget if we wanted to increase or decrease the timeline for that.
This is a question for Evan regarding the general conditions. I see right now you have a project executive, a senior project manager, a project manager, and an assistant project manager full-time on the project. Do you feel that that level of supervision is needed on a project this size? And is that at all negotiable if we want to bring our general conditions down a little bit?
I mean, we feel it's necessary, but if there is some need to bring numbers down, there's always something that we can definitely work out with you. We just like to be able to front end a lot of our stuff so we don't have issues with change orders. We don't want to be a change order company. We want to be able to get everything finalized and have what we're saying we're going to do.
May I add into that?
Absolutely.
So I told you guys all of our core values. One thing that we all stand by company-wide is we like to have as many win-win situations as possible. We don't like to screw anyone over with anything. Obviously, we still need to make money. If we can create a win-win situation where everyone can come out happy, that's our ultimate goal with every project.
So here's a potential win-win. Is there any allowance in your demo number for salvageable materials? So if you're demoing those existing halls and there's copper or other materials that can be salvaged for money, would you be willing to entertain bringing your demo number down a little bit?
Of course. That's one of the key things about being able to gut the whole entire building. It'll be able to eliminate having to dig through all the concrete. Typically, if you just go bulldoze a building, it's in a big pile. Being able to gut the whole entire interior of the building out, we'll be able to get all of those salvageable materials. We'll be able to turn that in for money. It'll just take a little bit more organization, and that's no issue on our end.
So I know you mentioned that you're confident in reducing 30 days out of your schedule. One scope you didn't mention was electrical. We all know lead times of switchgear, so what would be your plan to mitigate that time for switchgear?
We can reach out to other companies. First, I would have to reach out to our main electrical subcontractor. We have a very good communication with them. I mentioned earlier in the presentation regarding our schedule, with the lead times that we have, with everything else already, we were able to plan it all out, talking about the materials on site with long lead times and material delay. So with that great connection, we can reach out to them, see what we can do. And if that's not a possibility, we can reach out to multiple other subcontractors that we've used and vending companies and everything else.
So that on that note then, because it is actually a very large concern, I'm not sure if you're aware that switchgear lead times, and you have a 2,000 amp main switch on this, could be 52 to 70 weeks. What do you need from us, or what's your expectation from us as the owner to help you mitigate that risk, and is that even on your radar?
That is on our radar. Our expectation from the owner is, Obviously, as you already said, you guys are well aware that it is a common issue within construction, and I think we've been very honest with being able to have the good connection and setting everything up and creating a win-win situation. So if we can work with each other to be able to prevent any issues or any conflicts between us because of those long lead times, we would, good faith between the two.
Okay, so last question on that, good faith is awesome. But let's just say you get the building built and you can't get switchgear. How do we use our building?
First off, throughout the start of the project, we ordered our switchgears at notice receipt, so we were able to get them before the building, before they were put in place. But if there's any additions added that would require more electrical units, and we were not able to fit your timeline, we had to extend the timeline so we could fit the electrical in.
It is also a possibility. We have many other projects going on with similar switchgears, and it's possible if their deadline is later that we might be able to pull a switchgear that we've previously ordered for another project and install it on your project.
I have a two-part question related to material management. Have you identified any large lump sum costs that you anticipate doing a stored material billing that we need to be aware of from a cash flow standpoint? The second part to that question is, what kind of on-site storage and material management have you considered for accommodating some of these early deliveries?
So with our office being conveniently located 8 miles away, we also have a warehouse part of it. So for long lead time, like switchgear, stuff that aren't huge I-beams and everything else that take a huge amount of space, we'll be able to store it all there to help prevent all of that risk. And then we have our delivery routes, so it's not an issue being able to get it to site. And then we actually utilize just-in-time delivery. So for all of the material, with it being a very tight job site, we need as much room as possible just to make sure that all of our activities are being done to the safest point that we can. So we utilize just-in-time delivery and utilize it the day of or the day before. We'll be able to stage it, get it ready, hoist whatever we need to with everything else. Does that answer your question?
That answers the second part. On the first part, any stored material considerations we need to be aware of from a financing standpoint on your cash curve?
So we haven't included any allowances for that, but like, for example, like that switchgear that has a big lead time and we don't want to keep that outside on the job site, we've actually have a relatively smaller warehouse inside of our facility in Orlando for stuff like that specifically, because we've realized this has been an issue on a lot of our projects coming up with different switchgear or certain different mechanical units that otherwise you would struggle and have a delayed project, which overall costs the owner a lot of money and also costs us a lot of money in the end.
Following up on your material staging, on your site utilization plan, you showed your material laydown in the northeast corner. Do you have concern that that limits getting equipment and access to the south and east side? And also, is there concern that it limits getting any access to your trailers, your job site trailers, if there's an emergency?
We'll keep an active line of traffic through that at all times. One thing that was a problem that getting deliveries in and out, but we will use our gate guard as a spotter to back in all deliveries to the material laydown area.
And to add on to what Colton's saying is, with this gate guard, he helps organize everything and gets it all organized so it doesn't get disorganized and you actually have room to make everything fit. We are trying to keep a clear path all the way back to the job site trailer if we do have any outstanding issues.
I think that essentially wraps up our time. Thank you so much, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.